Hey, folks, it is March the 23rd, and this is our second to last lecture out of the book. And so just keep in mind, we're not going to have a lecture tomorrow. I'm going to be out of the classroom administering the SAT, but I will have an assignment posted for you. And the chapter we're going over today is chapter 1. Please read that. And the terms we have are Charles II, the Restoration, the Act of Uniformity, Habeas Corpus Act, James II, William Mary of Orange, Bill of Rights, and Toleration Act. So that's a lot of terms. I want to keep it short. And all of this has to do with English history that will become American history. So we see things like the Bill of Rights. Who would have thought? We're going to have a Bill of Rights. Religious freedom. Habeas corpus. You have to charge someone with a crime if you're going to put them in jail. You just can't put them in jail just because, right? And also, especially under these three, we're going to see the power of the government be divided, like, a division of power, like is in branches of the government. And all of this is happening while the colonies in America existed that will become the United States. And so they're watching all this, living all this, and this is going to be in their memory as they enact the American Revolution. So remember, we had Charles II. He is the son of, confusingly enough, Charles I. Remember, Charles I was beheaded. The second was actually pretty well liked. And under his role, Parliament was allowed to do a lot of the governing. He didn't step on any toes or anything like that. He didn't really care. He just wanted to be king. He didn't want to shove it down people's throats. But a lot of English people threw off that puritanical lifestyle. So the Puritans were in charge. And if you remember, I told you that they banned almost all the fun stuff in England, and they made church service mandatory. This made a lot of people in England very resentful. And so when they removed those laws under Charles II, church membership dropped drastically in England. In fact, it dropped so much that that's going to be one of the things that American colonists are going to find to be very disturbing. Later on, during, the French and Indian War, when British redcoats come in and fight on the side of the colonies, the colonials are going to be very taken back that the British do things that they don't, like cuss and drink and don't go to church, and they don't know anything about the Bible, whereas the 13 colonists, the people from 13 colonies, were complete opposite. And so we're going to see a lot of those pilgrims and Puritans who came to America are not going to go through this change like England does, whereas England's going to become a lot more secular. So remember, he liked the whining and the dining. He grew up in France, and so he did like the French did. And his son, James II, will be likewise. And though Charles II wouldn't spend his life practicing the Catholic faith, Charles II would. And if you remember, Parliament, though they disagreed on a lot of things, one thing they agreed on is they didn't like the idea of Catholicism. And they didn't like the idea of a strong monarchy. And James II wanted to be an all-powerful monarch like Henry VIII and some of those others. He wasn't very popular. He wasn't very likable either. We've seen that before. And so we're going to have something called the Glorious Revolution. And in the Glorious Revolution, James II was so unpopular that whenever Parliament is going to invite William and Mary of Orange, who are royalty from the Netherlands, to become King and Queen of England. They're going to invite other people to come. They have a loose family tie, very loose, distant family tie with the English crown. And they come over with an army. But James II was so unpopular, nobody defended him, and he had to run away. He ran away to France, and he died there of old age. And so they're going to be, in their family line, is going to be king and queen of England for a while, and their children will rule until they die off. And then we have the modern royal family as the Hoffen something or another. It's like a German family, which we still have today. And so Yeah, James the Second. In fact, he was actually Scottish and English. So you haven't had an actual English person of English descent rule in England in a very long time. So little fun thing. All right, so if you're into the royal family stuff, I try to avoid it because it seems like it's all soap opera stuff.
I have family members that are.
Yeah. Some people are like super tied into it. I don't like celebrities in general, regardless. Politics, movie, music, I don't really care for them. All right, so Charles II. So what was he like again? Anybody remember?
Good. A human.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so he was well liked, had a hands-off approach. And allowed Parliament to grow, as in grow in power. So yeah, it's like, yeah, fine, do whatever you want to, guys. They're like, yes, my lord. All right, the restoration. This has to do with, really, it's England patching up after years of civil war. Kind of like we have in America, we had Reconstruction. Here they had Restoration, like after our Civil War. So, and this is going to be also the restoration of the crown and all that. So, now, the Act of Uniformity, what we see here is this is the complete opposite of religious toleration. So, with the Act of Uniformity, Parliament banned certain churches, like the Baptists and stuff like that, and definitely Catholics and some others, and had a common prayer book. So what that means, they're trying to make uniformity. They're like, you can't be different from us. Here's the set list of recommended prayers, rules on how church service needs to go, obey. And a lot of people are like, no, we will not obey. So a lot of churches went underground. And a lot of those underground churches are going to be some of those people who are going to be pilgrims who come to America. Habeas Corpus Act. So this is something that ties back to the Magna Carta for nobles and some of the upper class, but now it's going to be, they're going to make sure it has the letter of law with it. And so cannot imprison people without charging them with a crime. And this is something that's really going to make people in the British colonies very upset, because knowing something about American history, the British are going to do this. They're going to arrest people and have them go before military judges and put them in prison against their English rights, the Act of Habeas Corpus, and against the Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights, because the English are going to have a Bill of Rights before we do. They'd be like, hey, I'm a British citizen. We are a subject. You're a subject. Why are you doing this? They're like, shut up. Club you on the head. All right, James II. Unpopular son of Charles II. Dethroned. That's it. That's going to end the Stuarts. That Scottish English crown. All right, next one. William and Mary of Orange invited to rule England as constitutional monarchs. And so what that means is that they are king and queen that must obey the law. And they're actually known for being extremely hands-off. They let Parliament basically do almost everything. Like, okay, y'all are elected to do this, you do it. All right, last one. Bill of Rights and Toleration Act. So, outline individual liberties. And right to choose your faith within certain bounds. Of course, they still weren't tolerant of Jews and Catholics and Muslims and some other folks. And that'll come later. All right, so there you have it. No lecture tomorrow. We're going to come back on Thursday. We're going to get 2 more chapters and be done with the book. See you later, kids.